Okay, I think we're going to be live now.
Right now?
I think we're live.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Respect Podcast. It is the year of 2022, 2021 in the books, and how garbage it was, at least for the latter half for the Montreal Canadiens. Join alongside me, Mackie, for the first time in this new year. A happy new year to all of you, and belated holiday spirit be granted to you. But here we are with Alex and Justin. Alex, how are you? Happy New Year, buddy.
I'm good, man. Happy New Year. Thank you. It's I don't know if it's good to be back, actually. It's good to be talking to you guys, but sucks to be talking about what we're about to talk about.
Which is the Montreal
hopefully
Canadiens.
better things this year. I guess, like you said, second half of 2021 sucked, but hopefully better to come in the second half of 2022. And over to Justin.
Yeah. Happy belated birthday, New Year, Christmas to you both. And yeah, the Habs. Wow. Laval Rocket or Habs, whatever they are, doing great these days. So we kind of left you guys for a while. So we're happy to be back. We're just going to kind of shoot the shit, talk about some stuff relating to the Habs, relating to the new year. And yeah.
That is correct. I want to welcome aboard. We actually have some viewers right off the bat. We've got Peyton, we've got Anthony, and we have Steph Cote, Steph C, as we know him. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight, the No Respect Podcast. As we just mentioned, guys, it's been a while since we've done an episode. We've had the holidays. We've had the fact that the Montreal Canadiens have not given us much to talk about these days with the stoppage. I think it's inclusively until January 8th now. But we did want to come in at least to give you guys a sign of life, and obviously wish you guys a happy new year, and talk a little bit about the Montreal Canadiens, and what we want to do actually for this podcast is focus on the positive, because that's where we're our best, and just because it's not really giving us the product of the Montreal Canadiens is not allowing us to do that right now. We need to reflect. We need to go back in time to feel what it meant to be a Habs fan that was happy. And we have to look back at the playoffs in 2021, which was fantastic. So we want to go over those moments with you just to start off at least today's episode. What were your favorite moments? That's the question for today's start of the episode. We'll see if you guys have any other questions, and the year in review. What were some big moments for you guys? We'll get into all of that stuff today. And again, for stopping by, a huge thank you. Liking, subscribing helps out the page tremendously. So please consider that if you would like. But so let's start off from there, guys. The jumping point, which is positivity, and your top moments as we look back at this year for the Montreal Canadiens 2021, which is in the books. Does anybody want to go first? Anybody that doesn't want to name something that's too obvious off the bat, maybe?
I can go first.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Alex. Go.
Snagged. Go ahead, Alex.
But if you choose mine, I'm going to hate you forever. So
no, I'll go for something more obscure. And to start it off a bit negatively, which I'm pretty good at, we know Cole Caulfield's been struggling this year. But big moment that stood out to me last year was his goal against Vegas, where he popped it around. I think was it Derek Englund? I don't know who it was.
No,
I think it was McNabb, no?
Yes.
Oh,
exactly.
yeah. Okay. That sounds right. Yeah. And then shelved it on Robin Lehner after Robin Lehner had been talking shit in the media. Mm-hmm. So that was just a fantastic moment. And bringing it back to Caulfield, look, he's struggling this year, but the team is just awful. He has that potential. He has it in him. And I think that goal shows that. And then another moment that I loved was Mitch Marner's delay of game penalty. Just that scene, that shot of him in the penalty box, that was incredible. That'll stick with me forever. And yeah, those are my two picks.
And no one was near him. He had 5 seconds to do whatever he wanted with the puck, and he sent it into the non-existent crowd. And it was great.
That is true. That was a great moment. Nice pick, Justin. Do you have anything to follow up? We can again throw it to the crowd here and see if anybody has any big moments that they want to talk about. Obviously, we're looking at the playoffs right now. Maybe there were some big moments that we're not thinking of right now for the regular season. But please think about that and let us know in the chat if you may. Justin, go ahead.
One of the good moments for me was the offseason from last year. So not this past offseason, but the one where we acquired Josh Anderson, Tyler Toffoli, and the kind of player, Corey Perry, like the players that made up the cup run. And one of the funnest parts of watching the season last season was the first like 10 games where Tyler Toffoli was on a tear. He was destroying the Vancouver Canucks and just scoring some just nasty goals. And I think those first like 15 games of the season, everyone was putting the Habs up there as like cup contenders, which was like weird for us to hear. And then obviously they came back down to earth during the regular season, but they ended up being cup contenders. So some people were right there. So yeah, the beginning of the season for sure for me was one of the highlights. And I'm trying to say stuff that's not part of the playoffs because there's some obvious moments there. But another one is Cole Caulfield coming in and scoring those 2 OT goals at the end of the regular season to kind of start off his career in the NHL. So those were just incredible. Like, and those kind of sealed the deal. Well, I don't know if at that point we were already in the playoffs. Were we already in the playoffs by the time that he had joined the team? Or it was still we hadn't clinched
he
yet.
Just came. No, he had come in for the end of the season, if I'm not mistaken, and got in a couple of games because he had those OT winners. Remember in like 3-on-3, which were nasty snipes before then.
Yeah, but
no,
that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
No. But are you talking about in the playoffs or before the?
No.
playoffs?
I was talking about in the regular season, but I was asking if we had clinched a spot in the regular season before that. But anyway,
I don't think it was clinched, but we were pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, he played a huge part in us making the playoffs for sure. But yeah, there's obviously the moments in the playoffs that like there's countless moments I could say. One, just to start it off, I think it was the first or second goal we scored was the Paul Byron like Superman diving goal. That one was insane.
Shout out to Peyton Kamara in the chat that mentioned that Paul Byron's goal versus the Leafs was the best moment.
I didn't see that. Yeah.
That was nasty. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could list off like probably 20 moments from the playoffs. I don't know if you, Mackie, you probably have some.
Yeah, low key. The other one with Paul Byron, since we're on the topic of DJ Pauly B, was the feed off of the 2-on-0 there against Vegas, where Josh Anderson, that was absolutely gross. So
not to mention Fleury handing us that game.
Yeah, 100%. Steph Cote says Carey Price in general, absolute monster, and obviously the OT Lecky Game 6 winner versus Vegas. This is the one that is obviously historic for all of us, I think. Alex drove down from Windsor. We were all in actually Mega Breaches, who's in the chat. Want to welcome him. We were at his house, our buddy Pat, all looking during the COVID time, and of course during this current situation, which is still not over. But at the time, we were watching in the garage because that was the only way that we could do that to respect the regulations. And we were all watching a group of friends and seeing it on Saint Jean with a good old Paps in our hands, multiple Paps that were on the floor already emptied, pizza from Pizza.
Good old Quebecois beer, Paps.
Yeah, it was the most electric moment of our lives. I'm as a Habs fan, like that was so insane, like to witness that, to be with friends. Maybe you guys have some anecdotes that you guys want to share. Where were you? What were you doing? Were you stroking one out? I don't know. You let us know.
Jeez,
but at this stage, I know. Listen, we're a little
There's
bit.
not a lot to talk about. Let's be honest.
But yes, that
I
moment is going to go down as just such a magical moment for all of our fan within for the Montreal Canadiens.
I just remember losing my voice so many times during the playoffs, and I'd come into work and like be in a meeting or something, and I'd just be like, "Hello," and and the people were like, "What is wrong with you?" And yeah, that was a great moment for me.
Yeah. Nicolas Turcotte says the refs being the best officials in Game 3 of the Vegas series. Yeah,
Oof.
I guess.
Oof. Big oof there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fucked. But yeah, I mean, when you look back at 2021, it's such a weird year, because obviously what we're witnessing right now heading into 2022 and what we've witnessed in the past
Omicron
3 months, three months of hockey, it's been absolutely brutal for the Montreal Canadiens. One of the worst, seasons for us as a team, I think, historically. And where we were, the Stanley Cup Finals, which is the top of the top, the fall from grace has been absolutely dramatic. So to look back at this year, where during the regular season we were up and down, and not many people believed in us. And I obviously, we like to be positive, but it wasn't, the greatest regular season for the Montreal Canadiens. And then to get to where we were at and to be there now again, and even worse, it's just a weird year. It's just a weird year. Like, you had Marc Bergevin that has come and gone within this year after an off season that, let's be fair here. I don't think anybody was saying that this was dramatically a terrible offseason. Right now, looking back at it, hindsight, of course, it looks terrible. But we acquired different pieces. Obviously, some things didn't go the right way with the Jesperi Kotkaniemis getting signed to the offer sheet and stuff like that. But when you reflect on this year, what do you, like, I don't know if you can explain it, but what do you think about it? Like, is it positive? Is it worth what we're feeling right now for you guys? Like, what we experienced?
I mean, it makes me believe in the hockey gods, because it's like they gave us this, like, I guess it was a bittersweet because we didn't actually win the cup, but we got so close, and it felt like we would be able to maybe make the playoffs again and be a competitive team, and then we just fell so hard, as you said. So it's like so up and down, like the feeling was so high in the playoffs, and now it's so low just thinking about the Habs these days. So it's, yeah, if the hockey gods exist, they're cruel, and yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about it, because I'm pretty sad these days just thinking about the Habs, to be honest. Did you guys see the lineup actually for the game versus Florida?
It's crazy.
I'll try and put it up on screen. Yeah. But it's basically like there's the fourth line is missing a player, and the third defensive line is missing a player. So there's five defensemen and 11 forwards, and then it's Montembeault and fucking McNiven as the goalies. Like, it's like this lineup is you can't even recognize it. Right. No. Here, let me try putting it up on screen. But
yeah, of course. This
talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I'm going to come back to my question for you, Alex, before we get into maybe the new. Oh, it's a great picture that you got there.
Oh, look at that.
Look. Okay, Yolonen on the first line. That's a hurry. We've got. You weren't kidding. Fourth line. That looks like my junior A lineup, dude. When somebody had like a soccer practice at the same time or some shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, this is bad. Yeah, but that's a little bit of the story right now for the Montreal Canadiens. It's ridiculous the amount of players that are missing because of COVID protocol, and
just injuries, and just straight injuries too.
Yeah. At this point, I don't even know. Like, at the beginning of the season, there's no excuse to the start or the performance that the Montreal Canadiens had. But at this stage, can we really blame them for? We haven't posted something in a month. Habs have won one game since then.
Yeah, just one. Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, there's been a lot of postponings. Is that postponements? Yeah, postponements. Yeah, anyways, you get what I'm saying. But at the same time, like, it's impossible to say that, you know, that with this roster that you just showed that's missing players, like the number is not complete. Like, the number of players in the NHL is not complete roster. This is not like house league, and they don't have enough players to put in uniform to play an NHL game. It's crazy times that we're living in right now, and it's happening all over the NHL. But the Montreal Canadiens seem to be taking it really badly right now in terms of all of the protocol cases. But I wanted to come back to that question for you, Alex, which was, as we review this year for this episode for the new year, new Habs, please, and looking back at 2021 and the highs and the lows, what we're experiencing right now, and again, chat that's watching, a huge thank you for watching. If you guys have any takes, please let us know. But is it worth everything that we're experiencing right now, the lowest of the lows in terms of performance? Is it worth what we experienced during the playoffs last year?
It's impossible to say just because of hindsight. Like, looking at it now, I'll say no. But in the moment, like that night on Saint Jean, like you said, I drove 8 hours to show up for that game. They win it. It was just unbelievable. And like that moment, that night, I wouldn't trade for anything. Looking at it now, however many months later, it's like, well, yeah, of course, I would have preferred not getting that far if this season would have been decent. But I don't know. There's no way to know if we'll ever get that far again. So no, I don't think you can look at it that way. It was an amazing run, and we just got to take it for what it was and enjoy those moments. It is crazy though to see the change so quickly. Like, management gone, Timmins gone, even the media guy gone, the whole draft issues, and like the night and day difference over less than a year, just unbelievable. And hopefully this works out for the young guys. Like, I don't even know how you show up to game motivated now this year as a player, like playing with line mates you've never heard of. And I don't know. It must be tough to be an NHL player right now, especially on a team like Montreal. And I don't know. Hopefully the future's brighter.
If I could, I agree that right now I think it's a cop out that we can use for this team. It's just not a regular year anymore. At the beginning of the year, there was again no reason for it to be that poor of a performance by the Montreal Canadiens. But now it's getting to the point where, like, you can't even expect this team, which is comprised of like almost ECHLers, to win against NHL teams that are called Tampa Bay, which they almost pulled off, by the way. But coming back to the question, at least for me, I have to agree, and I'll be a bit more direct with it, is that even with hindsight, I wouldn't trade. I don't give a fuck what happens right now. That moment, that playoff run, and I'm so happy that we had the podcast at the time, and then we took it seriously last year and not this year only, because last year was so epic to be a part of this type of situation, which, first of all, you couldn't have written it up better in terms of a Cinderella situation for the Montreal Canadiens, down 3-1 against the Leafs, another first round playoff exit coming to the demise of the Toronto Maple Leafs fans and from our hands, which was beautiful. They thought they had it in the bag. And then we all watched the Steve Dangle video and we had a laugh. Okay. We saw him melt down. Mad respect to Steve Dangle. He's a great content creator. But that being said, that whole, sweeping the Jets, Tyler Toffoli from Cole Caulfield, that ending goal from that sick feed, Arturi Lehkonen after a sick backhand pass from an entry by Phil Danault and Brendan Gallagher. You can't forget this stuff, dude. And yes, we lost against Tampa Bay in 5. But I would not trade anything, even if it's low. We're going to get Shane Wright. There's always a positive, dude. Like, you can't trade away this moment that is gonna literally be engraved for the rest of your life. If you're somebody that likes a good time and doesn't want the paper decision always and what's the best on paper. But if you're a human fan and you're not looking at it from a GM perspective, how can you trade what we experienced away? I don't get it personally. You might have an opinion that might go against that, and I can understand it, but I don't see it that way.
I mean, especially us that have never seen a Stanley Cup in our lifetimes. Like, this is the closest we've ever been, and I know, like, we cherish even the in 2014 when we made the conference finals, like when we were against Philadelphia in the conference finals in 2009, I believe, or 2011 maybe, I don't know, anytime, anyway. But those playoff runs, like, as far as you get, you always cherish them, and like, it's such a fun time, and making it as far as we did, like, it was, like you guys said, it was just unbelievable. And just to actually experience it together, which I was afraid that we wouldn't be able to do that, but we actually did. And
I think we might have mentioned it on the podcast maybe like halfway through last year or early in the playoffs, and we're saying, when you look back at Montreal teams, like, we remember that playoff run in 2010. We remember the playoff run in 2014. But those shitty teams from 16, 17, 18, like, it's not in our memories anymore, right? Even early 2000s, we remember the Kovalev playoff games against Boston, or the Koivu injury and stuff. Those are the moments that we're going to remember forever. And I think, even with hindsight, we'll take that any day, and it'll be with us forever.
Yeah, the bad news is that because this team is right after the biggest high and the expectations and everything that we experienced, this team is going to be remembered for being really bad. Like, I think down the line, I think that people are going to look back at this team and potentially say, like, holy shit, what the fuck happened in 2021?
But I think, like you said, we have the COVID cop-out, the injuries in COVID. I think it'll be brushed aside. Every team is having COVID issues and stuff, and we'll remember it for that. Unfortunately, not that that's a good thing, but maybe the players will get a pass.
Yeah, I mean, you also can't really take away the fact that we lost, like you said, it's injuries and COVID, but we lost our three, like, arguably three of our most important players in Phil Deneau, Carey Price, and Shea Weber this season to start. Like, and you could shit on Phil Deneau's offense all you want, but he ate up like 20 minutes a night where the other team was not doing much. Like, and he was producing with Thomas Tatar and Gallagher. So, like, just losing those guys was enough to like, put the season in shambles.
Yeah, well, I mean, even starting off the year, when you look at the performance, love the guy. I really hope he bounces back. But Jeff Petrie, when he was Jeff Petrie at his best, was a number one defenseman, almost going for the Norris last year, and he didn't even bring an ounce of what the type of player he was when he was effective this year to start off. So you take that. You add in Joel Edmondson not being with the team for personal reasons. The expectations of Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield to absolutely pick it up where they left off in the playoffs. Just you add in all of these things that have made such a drastic change, of course. But at the end of the day, it wasn't enough for Marc Bergevin to stay as GM. I think everybody was okay with the move, even us as being somewhat. I know a lot of people are against Marc Bergevin. I wouldn't put myself in that category whatsoever, because I don't think it's an easy job to build a team. For anybody. So I think they've done a decent job at bringing the team from 2012 to where it's at now. Maybe not perfectly, but it just goes to show that if you're missing those key pieces and that you're not getting the results, at one point enough is enough, even if you made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. And it's interesting to see that right now and it playing out. So I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody who's joining in. We got 7 watching on a 10 o'clock, 10:20 on a Thursday night where the Habs are not playing until January 8th or January 15th. This is great. Thank you so much for joining us. A happy New Year and happy belated holiday period to you all. Actually welcoming in new Mega Breaches, our boy Pat, saying Francois Legault got to tie up his skates. The Habs need him. We shall see about that. Playoff run also made a bunch of new Habs fans in Quebec. Yeah, I mean, it was a magical time. And again, on the theme of 2021, the new year, and heading into 2022 here, if you guys have any big moments that you wanted to talk about, please share it in the chat. A like, a subscription, all of these things help the channel, so please consider that. But yeah, guys, I don't know if there's any other big moments, any things that you guys wanted to chat about. I know from a personal level, like in this channel, what we can talk about is that we had some great moments with fans and being able to interact with everybody. Justin with his epic playoff montages, I think that was a great moment. Got picked up by a bunch of news outlets or like media outlets and Twitter people that reshared that. So that was an epic moment. We did the song, the playoff song, and Alex tearing it up with the outro for that. We saw Alex Romanov. I don't know if that counts. Yeah, Alex Romanov was in 2021. We saw Alex Romanov in the woods, like in person. That was nuts.
LaSalle.
And my
deep
dog,
in LaSalle.
Yeah, my dog almost nibbled at his gentles, but yeah, it was. I was trying to be PC there. Yeah. Any big moments that you guys want to talk about and shifts that happened in 2021 that are interesting for the year review?
I don't really have anything else.
Nope.
I mean, we can talk all one about the playoffs. That for me was like the biggest thing. There's a lot of negative stuff that happened that we don't necessarily have to get into.
Let's touch on that then. Let's touch about the negative then. Let's go on what
we've talked about it a bit, but like Carey Price not playing for reasons, Shea Weber having career-ending injuries, basically. Unconfirmed, I guess. LTIR for him. Yeah, and COVID all the time. Last year and 2 years, it's been it's been a disaster. Not only in hockey, in the world as well. So it's I mean, there's a lot of negative this year. This like we've been focusing on the positive, but obviously, yeah, it's tough. When you talk about the negative.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I wanted to touch on one big negative, I think it has to be the fact that losing your captain. I know he's 37, 38, but like the way that he played, like that, I don't want to say the negative, but the most heartbreaking thing was seeing Shea Weber get to the Stanley Cup final last year and basically see all of his. I remember the footage of every player kind of coming and just giving him the most epic and intense hug that they possibly could, because they already knew at that stage that this was probably his last run at the big dream of his. And this is an elite defenseman for 20 years in the NHL. He's won gold, but he hasn't won the Stanley Cup. To be so close and to power through the injuries and stuff like that, that was, I think, the biggest heartbreaking moment that I can think of, off the top of my head right now, for a Habs player that just laid it all on the line. It was tough to see, and I think any competitor, any person that likes hockey, and even the peers that are in the NHL, seeing that, there's pain there, and also I'd say for Carey Price as well.
Yeah, it's crazy to think how many of these guys won't win a cup. Like you just mentioned, Price, realistically, it's not looking so good for Carey Price. He might not get one, but so many all-stars who just will never get it or have not gotten it. Henrik Lundqvist comes to mind. He came close a few times. Connor McDavid probably will never win. Edmonton is just an absolute disaster. So
what is it, 1 in 13?
Yeah, I think something like that. in the
10 and
last
12.
They've won
10
one, I
losses
think.
in 12 or something. Or yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Brutal.
I mean, I trying to segue here. I don't want to touch on the negative too much, but maybe McDavid comes to Montreal in the future. Is that a possibility? You heard it here
Maybe.
first.
Yeah, you did. No respect, no respect speculation portion of the show. Connor McDavid to Montreal. When does it happen for you?
Confirmed.
I don't know.
Does
How
it
long does he have
happen,
left in Edmonton? 5 years, 6 years?
5-6 years? Yeah, that sounds about
That
right.
would work with our timeline, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
What are you giving
Talking
up?
about McDavid and another negative, the Olympics is not happening.
Yes, yeah.
We won't get to see a line of, let's say, McDavid. Who would be on his wing? McKinnon,
Crosby.
Marchand. No, he plays with Bergeron. But this tournament would have been incredible, especially coming out of COVID and stuff. Everyone was so hyped for it. USA is looking strong. You're hoping for another gold medal Canada-USA game. This has been scrapped as well.
Yeah.
So it's just tough.
World Juniors
too.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing about the World Juniors, and this was talked about quite intensely on social media, is that some of the players that are going into the World Juniors, like this is their one tournament. Mm-hmm. This is their moment. Like the spotlight is at the highest for some people that won't make it to the NHL or that are, this is the tournament that they have to miss. Now, I don't want to get into necessarily was it the right decision and stuff like that. I know that they did the same thing. They were canceling the women's tournament portion of the that like prior to the actual shutdown of the whole thing. So, there's all of these things that were happening because of the outbreak, I guess. But it actually, it's sad to see how it's impacted everything with regards to the hockey world. Hopefully we get back to some kind of normalcy. I mean, we just, I don't know if we want to get too personal, but we just had a bout with COVID ourselves. And it's fucked, man. Like it's been 2 years and it's tiring. You want to get back to just a normal fucking life, especially when it comes to things like hockey that are a big passion of especially if you're listening to this podcast. It's probably because you're a pretty hardcore fan of the Montreal Canadiens and looking for content anywhere. So hopefully it gets better for 2022, and that's our hope here with the new year.
Yeah, it really sucks though. The Olympics, like, just knowing that it's not. I mean, obviously COVID is a huge factor. But the players didn't play in the Olympics, the last Winter Olympics, and it was all this money dispute. And then we're finally like, oh, it's going to happen this year. And then obviously it can't happen because the players get COVID. They have to stay in China for like 3 weeks or something, quarantining, and they can't get back. So it's a whole disaster. So I don't know. It's easy to blame the NHL, the IOC, or whoever, or COVID, or like whoever you want to blame, but yeah, it just sucks because I don't know if you guys watched the last Olympics, but the hockey was not very fun to watch, to say the least. Especially if you were a German fan, maybe it was very exciting for you, but to watch Canada and not recognize most of the players that were playing, it felt weird. It just felt like it wasn't. It felt like it wasn't just like professional hockey, which I guess it wasn't. Mm-hmm. It's amateur hockey.
Yeah, well, there's some people that advocate for that instead, eh? They want to see, I mean, if there was a dual tournament like where you can still see the stars play against themselves, and it would be the equivalent. But I don't think anybody like from the actual NHL wants that because they are the best athletes of that sport, and to be part of the Olympics means a lot. Brad Marchand came out and spoke about the Olympics. I don't know if you guys saw the tweet. I can't remember exactly what he said. Maybe I can get it quick. But basically, very unhappy with the decision to like not let them go.
Yeah, he was basically saying it's all about money and their.
Yeah. The NHL and the NHLPA can change the rules of the CBA to add a taxi squad so that they don't miss any games and don't lose any money. which has already been agreed upon, that the players will pay back in escrow until the owners are made whole from what they have lost during this pandemic, regardless how many games are missed. Yet they can't do a taxi squad during the Olympics, so they can honor the agreement they made so the NHL players can go. Please tell me that's not bullshit. And for all of you who want to pipe back about forfeiting pay while being gone, yeah, not a problem. Let the players make their choice. Had to do that because he's a rat, and I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan. But some would say that that's a pretty good argument. I think there's different factors that we may not completely understand in terms of, like the quarantine aspect, all of those things. What does it mean if they get stuck there? If there's I don't know. But there is that side of the argument that we're not presenting here. But a lot of people kind of agreeing with what has been said. 36.2K likes on this post by Mr. Brad Marchand. But yeah, it goes to show you.
At the end of the day, the Olympics are still happening. So like if players want to forfeit their pay and go take the risk of potentially contracting COVID and having to quarantine, in my mind, they should be allowed to do that. But
it may impact their coming back to the NHL, no?
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, so I know. But it sucks for the players because players don't obviously players don't have the opportunity to go to the Olympics every year, and even when the Olympics come around, they might not be in their prime anymore. They might not have the opportunity to go, or they might have a dispute with the current GM of Team Canada, like Martin St. Louis. Anyway, but the only thing I'm hoping what happens out of all this is we get another World Cup of hockey.
Yes.
So that hopefully we get to see a best on best tournament. Hopefully this time without the weird shenanigans of like the Team Europe thing, or the team rest of
sick,
world.
Man. Team North America.
Team North America was cool with the young players.
Hot take, but the Team North America jersey was so ugly, dude.
No, it was sick. What are you talking about?
I hated it, dude. It was disgusting, dude.
You have a terrible opinion on jerseys.
I could make a better jersey on NHL.
No, you cannot.
No, you can't.
I know for a fact that you can't.
Hey, my German themed jersey, I stick with it. It had
blue on it.
Honestly, no, it did not. It had red, yellow, and black.
It had blue.
Okay? No. Screw you. Okay, I don't agree. But yeah, let me take a look at the Team North America jersey.
I'll talk. Let me log into my Shell account and I'll show them how bad your jersey was.
You remember McKinnon's goal on Lundqvist?
Yeah, that was nasty.
Oh my god, dude, that stick handle. It literally, even in slow motion, it doesn't make sense.
Were we at that game? Or were we at one of those games? Because me and you went to a World Cup game, and it was the junior play, or the young North American.
No,
players.
we went to the one. Did we? Yes, we did. I think we did.
I forget who they played though. I don't think it was because it was in Montreal.
It was in Montreal.
It was in Montreal and Toronto.
Oh.
But you're thinking of the juniors, no?
No. No, I remember. We went to see the.
Because it was Max Domi, Anthony Duclair, and shit. No. Are you sure? This is bad.
I mean, you're making me start to doubt myself, but I'm pretty sure that we went to go see the World Cup qualifier thing. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe jersey. I'm completely wrong.
Nah, this jersey's not nice. I don't like it. I'm
okay.
sending you a picture.
Maybe I'm talking about the World Juniors. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Was the World Cup of hockey even in Montreal?
I don't think so.
I
think you're
probably in Zurich or something.
Yeah, I think it was in Europe, no? Yeah, anyway.
It was in Toronto. So it could have been in Montreal, maybe like a pre-tournament game or something.
Maybe. Anyways, coming back, just to finish on the point of the juniors, though, they did say that they were going to potentially postpone it. So what that means, we don't know, but maybe it'll be sooner than next year, like the holiday period that we're all used to. But yeah, so we shall see. Coming back to the Montreal Canadiens, honestly, in terms of on-ice performances, as we mentioned, the last game, I think the last game that they played was against Florida. They put up a good fight at the beginning of the game. Actually looked like they were going to upset them. And again, they did almost that against Tampa Bay. But now we're playing against, let me take a look at the schedule.
Well, we were supposed to play against Washington on January 4th, but it got postponed. The 6th against Toronto got postponed. Games
Chicago,
are postponed
the
until
13th.
12th, from what I see.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but it says exhibition. Exhibition on the 12th, the 13th.
Because of our roster. They don't even want to count it.
Yeah, potentially. But yeah, it's I mean, apart from that, and a few birthdays to Mathieu Perreault, Alex Romanov, and I'm missing one more person, like Brett Kulak,
Harvey
I think.
Pinard. Oh yeah, Kulak.
Yeah.
There's a lot of birthdays these days. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of birthdays. So.
Justin Casway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's true. Justin did have a birthday, the 23rd. A little belated happy birthday to him. Thank you. But apart from that. No, you don't make it a thing.
It means a lot.
I was going to talk about the big news, which I think is really sick, which is a hire of Chantal Machabé as the VP of Communications for the Montreal Canadiens. I think from top to bottom, all of the hockey world love this. Ourselves absolutely included, in terms of the pedigree and reputation that Chantal has on RDS amongst her peers and even with the Montreal Canadiens and dealing with media, the respect that she commands, being in a male-dominated industry from she has 30 years of experience, and to pave the way, I think this is just a great hire. I don't know what this is going to mean for the Montreal Canadiens moving forward and the relations with the fans and stuff like that, but I do know that she had a comment with regards to what she hoped for when it came to the Montreal Canadiens and their relationship with their fans, and it's to give it back to them. What that means and how that's going to play out, I don't know, but I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know what you guys think here, but I think this that's the most significant news that we have for this week, I think, for the Montreal Canadiens and positive takes for starting 2022 at least.
Yeah, I mean, if you're watching RDS in the last 30 years, you know Chantal pretty well. So I think we all kind of grew up with her always either interviewing or doing like a post-game or pre-game kind of report. So yeah, she's always been good in my book, and it's going to be, it's a great signing for the Habs. And there was a funny thing from, I think one of her coworkers at RDS said something funny, because Marc Denis, there's been, I don't know if it's rumors or he actually interviewed as a GM for the Habs, but someone was saying that like they're going to take everyone from RDS and RDS is going to have no one left there. Yeah. So yeah, that was do you guys know about Marc Denis? Is it for real that he's
it is for real, I think.
That would be, because I love Marc Denis. Marc Denis is he's my guy.
Yeah,
he's great.
I feel like he'd be better off with Patrick Lalime.
Oh my god.
No, I'm messing with you.
Or Félix Séguin.
Exactly, yeah. But no, it is crazy.
Okay, sorry, no disrespect, Felix. Sorry, what were you saying, Alex?
No, like Justin said, like we all grew up watching Chantal on RDS, and now Marc Denis too. You could tell watching him on RDS that he's like a cut above, not to shit talk TVA, but RDS has always been better. And you could tell he's a cut above, and to have another person either rumored to be interviewing or actually interviewing, it just shows that the product there has been so good, and they're pumping out quality talents. And all the best to Marc Denis. I think it would be a good hire. You can tell that people respect him, and he comes across very well. He's very bilingual, and I'd be happy to see Marc Denis.
I think honestly, and he has not only just like a media career. You know, he was an NHL player, and he does have some kind of management experience. I think in La Ligue de Saguenay if I'm not mistaken. So there is a body of work with Marc Denis, and I think that he's a great. I've been able to watch him on RDS and even on TSN and giving hockey takes, and it never doesn't make sense. It's one of those things that when you listen to someone and they constantly, there's very few people that I can list out that when you listen to them speak about hockey, they're rarely wrong. They always have like a level-headed take that's examining all of the options, and I think that's where we kind of miss the mark as Habs fans, that we either take things maybe too positively or too emotionally, and it can influence the way that we look at a situation. And there are some people that are in the media that are very good at being able to expand the whole horizon of possibilities, and Marc Denis is part of that list. So him, Daniel Brière, Mathieu Darche, Stéphane Quintal. I'm missing a few other names in terms of candidacy for
There's
VGM.
Roberto Luongo.
Roberto Luongo, correct.
Yeah.
This guy from St. Leo is going to go nuts if he gets hired. So free cappuccino.
They're saying the team wants to announce it within like the next couple of weeks.
Who said
it's
this?
Supposed to.
Is it Marc Denis
it was
himself?
Renaud Lavoie.
Oh, Renaud Lavoie.
Oh,
okay.
So we know he's been a bit.
Though, so.
Yeah, it's been a bit iffy the past 2 years, but they're saying we should know fairly soon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, all things to hopefully come in this new year. We are the No Respect Podcast. This has been the episode for today, I think, unless there's anything else that you guys wanted to touch on quickly. I'll give you any takers? Pretty good? All good? Great. No Respect Podcast, episode 7. Sorry for being away for so long. Again, a happy new year to everyone, and huge thank you for tuning in tonight on this Thursday night to talk about the Montreal Canadiens. We're expecting an exhibition game on January 12th. So we'll see how that plays out. And just to tell you guys that obviously with the way that the season is going, kind of reevaluating again, just with the fact that we all have our full-time jobs and stuff like that. We may not be as present as when things are actually happening, and it's normal. But we'll be back, on a regular basis. Not as regular, but we will be back soon enough. So again, a huge thank you for tuning in with us tonight.
On a basis, some sort of basis. Maybe not regular,
some kind of
but
basis. Yeah, semi-regular. So again, if you guys find yourselves coming back to this channel, if you're new to it and stuff like that, a subscription, all things that are just completely free and optional to you guys and means the world to us. So please consider that. But if not, for all you real ones out there, a happy new year, a huge thank you from the No Respect fam. And we will see you soon. For Alex, for Justin, for myself, Mackie, we are the No Respect Podcast, always reminding you to respect the
Orgasm Nation.
Have a great one, and we shall see you soon. Happy New Year.